Hi and welcome back. So in this lesson, we are going to look at the core HTML elements. So our goal here is to master HTML thoroughly, going through all the commonly used HTML elements one by one with detailed explanations and practical examples. That is how you build confidence and skill. So, how are we going to approach this lesson? I will try to break HTML elements into logical categories, and I will be grouping categories and similar categories together. And with that, we will know what they are, why they are being used, and also with examples. Then at the end, we do some practical work and then build our confidence on that. So with that said, let's move on to the categories we will cover. So with the first category, which is document structure, we will be looking at the doc type, the HTML, the head, and the body. With this particular one, in the previous lesson, during the time we were talking about the diagram, this basic structure of HTML, we did talk about the doc type, the HTML, the head, the body. So they are all HTML elements. Don't forget it. So in this lesson too, we will take a look once again to that and then really get the understanding with practical examples. And number two is headings and text. And the examples that we'll be looking at is the H1 to H6 tag, and the P tag, the BR tag, and the HR tag. Number three will be formatting text. So formatting text, the examples we'll be working on is the B tag, the strong tag, the I tag, the EM tag, the mark tag, and the code tag. And number four will be links and navigation. So with the links and navigation, the examples that we'll be looking at are the A tag and the nav tag. And number five, we will take the category, the images and media. And that's the examples will be image tag, which is IMG tag, the video tag, and audio tag. And number six will be lists. So we'll be looking at the UL tag, the OL tag, and the LI tag. And number seven is tables. So we'll be looking at the table tag, the TR tag, the TD tag, and the TH tag. Number eight will be forms and inputs. So we'll be looking at the form tag, the input tag, the text area tag, the button tag, the select tag, and the label tag. And then number nine will be semantic layouts. So when we talk about semantic layouts, we'll be looking at the header tag, the footer tag, the section tag, the article tag, the aside tag, and the main tag. And number 10 on the list will be the meta and head elements category. And that's we'll be looking at title tag, the meta tag, the name tag, the style tag, and the script tag. And the last one on the list, which is the miscellaneous other ones that we'll be looking at, is the div tag, the span tag, the iframe tag, the details tag, and the summary tag. So these are the categories that we will be covering in this lesson. And as I said earlier, I want to take my time and help you with this because this is critical. You really need to understand this thoroughly and be able to use them effectively. So I will also be breaking this lesson, this particular lesson into parts, so that grouping similar categories and explaining them will help you really understand every one of these elements. Now let's quickly take a look at the groupings, and right after that we open our Visual Studio Code and then begin our practical coding. So with the first group, we'll be looking at document structure, meta and head elements, headings and text, formatting text. And the goal will be understanding how an HTML document is structured and what goes in the head versus body tags, and also to learn how to present and emphasize textual content. In the second group, we'll be looking at links and navigation, and also images and media. And the goal is to learn how to create hyperlinks and site navigation, and also to learn how to embed images, videos, and audio into your web pages. In the third group, you'll be looking at lists and tables, and the goal is to display structured data clearly using lists and tables. In the fourth group, we'll be looking at forms and inputs, and the goal is to collect user input effectively using forms. And in the last group, which is the fifth one, we'll be looking at semantic layouts and miscellaneous elements, and the goal is to structure pages semantically for accessibility and clarity, and also to learn utility elements and introduce interactive UI features. So let's now move on to our practical coding. So if you open your Visual Studio Code, this is what you should see on your screen. Now, before we can do anything, we first of all need to create a folder, and this folder is what is going to hold all our code blocks. So first of all, come to this Explorer and then click, and you can see I have already two folders. And before I created this folder, I already had a major folder I created to hold these two folders. So you can also visit your File Explorer, and then as you can see here, this is the main folder I created before creating the other two folders. So when I open it, you will see these two folders here. So you can also, maybe wherever you want to save that folder, you can do it on your machine, either your desktop or maybe any other place you wish to keep that folder. And after that, let me hide this now. After that, when you open your Visual Studio Code, you should be able to go to the file and then select open folder. So when you click here, it will open your window. Then you can go to where your folder is. You just click it and you select folder. So when you select the folder, it will open the folder in your Visual Studio Code, as you can also see my own open here. So right after that, you can create extra folders within it, as I have done here, because this tutorial I want to extend it from HTML to React. That is why you see the React focus to here. So in this folder, now we have to create our index HTML. The index is what, anytime that we go live, it will be the first page to load, like our home page. So anytime I click here, go live, then it will pick the index HTML being our first or our home page index HTML file, and it will open that page for us. So now let's create a new file, name it index.html. Yeah, so now we have this file here. and this will be our home page. Anytime, as I said, we go live or we click on the go live, it will first load the index HTML. So now, the first group we were talking about is document structure and the meta and head elements, and we will also look at the headings and text and then how to format the text. So now, before we can do anything, we first need the DOCTYPE. So the DOCTYPE is what the browser needs to understand our page or your page. So without the DOCTYPE, the browser wouldn't understand the language or wouldn't understand the page, what to do with your page. So first of all, you have to create the DOCTYPE. Like this, and this should always be at the top. It is the first thing you should have in your HTML file before you do any other thing. So after this, we will need the HTML itself, and I will talk about this too, the HTML itself. So with the HTML, I spoke to you about the fact that anything that you want to be seen on the screen or on your page shouldn't be outside the HTML tag. So in the HTML tag, we also have our head, the head tag, and the body tag. So we need these two things in the HTML. And we shouldn't forget the HTML should have a lang attribute, the language attribute. And the language I use is English, so it's just EN. And you can also check for your specific language that you are using. So now, let's get back to the HTML tag. We also spoke about the fact that in the HTML tag, we should know what to put in the head tag and what to put in the body tag. So there are things to put in the head tag and there are things to put in the body tag. So now, what are some of the things we need for the head tag? So in the head tag, the first thing we need is the meta tag. The meta tag, and this meta tag should have the charset, and we should set it to UTF-8. So what is this meta doing? Let me explain it. The meta charset UTF-8 is character encoding, and the purpose of it is to tell the browser what character encoding to use when displaying the web page. So what is the UTF-8? It stands for Unicode Transformation Format, and the 8 is 8-bit or byte. It supports virtually all characters from every language. Example, the English language, the Arabic language, Chinese language, French language, German language, and so on and so forth, and even emojis. And without this tag, characters like the $, or maybe when you come to Germany, we have some words like this, like this. All these ones, without this, might display as weird symbols or question marks, because the browser might fall back to a different or outdated encoding. So you should always remember to put this meta charset in the head tag. And right after that, we also need what we call the viewport, which is also another meta tag. So we give the name viewport, and the content, and the value for the content will be width, and we will set the width to device width. And not that alone, we will also need to add initial scale. I will be explaining all this, so don't worry. And that one too, we set it to 1.0. So what is this meta also doing? With this meta tag having the name attribute and content attributes, it's mainly for responsive design. So the purpose of this is to control the layout and scaling of your web page on different devices, especially smartphones and tablets. Let me go into the attribute, the name attribute with the value viewport. So this defines that this tag is setting rules for the browser's viewport, that is the visible area of a web page. And the content also contains the settings. So as we can see, the width is equal to device width, which sets the width of the page to match the screen's actual width in pixels. And the initial scale, which is 1.0, sets the initial zoom level equal to 100%. So 1.0 is equivalent or equal to 100%. And why is this important? Without this, mobile browsers default to a fixed desktop width layout, making your site zoomed out and hard to use on small screens. So without this, anytime you visit your website on smaller screens, it will zoom out with the fixed desktop width, making it very difficult, especially on smaller screens. So it is really important to also have this meta tag with the name viewport and the content set to width size and the initial scale equal to 1.0. And after this, we will also still have to add one extra element inside the head tag, and that will be the title. So with the title, we set the title of the page. So the title of this page, let's make it my first web page. So this one too, we spoke about it in our lessons, that the title tag defines a title for your web page or your HTML page, which is shown in the browser's title bar. So as we have defined this title, if I am to run go live and then show my browser, you could see that on the page there is nothing on the page, but when we look in the browser tab, we can see our title, which is my first web page, and in the body we don't have anything in the body. That is why our page is blank. Now we still have to add more things in the head, and the next one we will be adding is the link tag. So we need to add a link tag here. So with the link tag, it's purposely for linking external style sheets to your HTML document, allowing you to style your page. So when you visit people's website, how you see the text positioned, the colors and everything so beautiful. This is what helps to make the website so beautiful, because with the link style sheet, we add our styles to our body and be able to see it so beautifully as we normally see. So let me explain the rel and also the href. So the rel attributes with style sheet tells the browser the type of relationship this link has to the HTML, in this case a style sheet. And the ref attributes with the value style.css specifies the path to the CSS file. And why use an external style sheet? It keeps HTML clean and focused on structure. And it also reused the same CSS file across multiple pages. And it's also easier to maintain and update styles. So this is also important. And I have one tip for you. You should always place the link tag in the head, so styles are loaded before the page is displayed. This prevents unstyled flashes. So always remember to put the link in the head before the body loads, so that it will prevent unstyled flashes. And let's go on with the last thing I want to put inside the head, which is the script. So let me put the script, and after that I explain it too. So with the script, it should have a source attribute, and we can name it script.js. We can also add one more attribute, which is the differ. And this attribute tells the browser to load the script in the background and only run it after the HTML is fully parsed. That is ideal for scripts that manipulate DOM elements. So for now, these are some of the things we will need in the head tag. So to see anything on the page, we need to add something to our body, inside our body. So just for test purposes, let me put h1 tag and then say hello world, and then save it and show the browser again. So now you can see that the hello world is showing. You see the hello world is showing. So basically we have now our basic structure as we discussed in the diagram before. So with this, we are good to start our main skeleton design here to get things in place in the body, so we can see it live when we run our web browser. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found this helpful, please consider liking the video and subscribing. It really helps me grow this channel. I would also like to hear your thoughts or questions in the comments, and feel free to share this with anyone who might find it useful. See you in the next video.